Hello, beautiful people. Today is 26th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, first of all, let's have a look at today's GS folder. So, today into the GS folder, we'll take a quote from the Woodrow Wilson. He says, "There is no higher religion than human service. To work for the common good is the greatest creed." Now, guys, this particular quote corresponds to the quote that service to human is the service to God, or the service to man is the service to God. So, it has been said that a truly ethical behavior is contained in concerning with the human welfare. Now, guys, this particular quote can be utilized into the GS paper number 4, Ethics and Human Interface. So guys, that's all about today's GS folder, and now let's have a look on today's newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Here we can see that the Vodafone retrospective taxation case has been mentioned, which has finally been decided into the favor of the Vodafone. So with respect to GS paper number 3 taxation, we'll see this entire issue. Then guys, here we can see that the music maestro SP Balasubramaniam has passed away. After that, guys, moving forward we into the city section, here we'll use the RRTS as a case study into the questions of the infrastructure. So we'll see this matter. Then guys, moving forward, other news with respect to the rising number of COVID cases, etc. has been mentioned, not important for our exam. Then guys, into the entire country, the farmer protest is also going on. Already we had seen all these issues. Then guys, this particular article talks about the labor code which are being raised. So guys, onto the just few days back we had seen this entire article, that how what reforms are coming, so already covered. Then guys, this article talks about the parliamentary scrutiny with respect to the parliamentary accountability. So we'll see this entire issue. Then guys, here the Cess school has been mentioned, so we'll see the issues concerned. Then guys, this article talks about the ongoing intra-Afghan talk. Friends, first of all, we have taken enough of the articles onto this particular line, so it is just a repeated article. Moreover, as this process is going on, so in few days, ultimate where it moves, it comes, the situation is very much evolving and it is prone to change. Then guys, today as it is a Saturday, it is a ground zero report with respect to the farmer crisis that is going on. So guys, some personalistic accounts have been given here, not actually usable for the exam. Then guys, moving forward, so again the farmer issues have been given. The ruling government is justifying their stand, whereas opposition is just slinging the mud onto the basically political parties. So this is all going on. Then guys, here we can see that the MCI has replaced the NMC. So this entire issue, will see what it is all about. Then guys, here it has been said that the suspension of Rajya Sabha MPs is unfortunate. So guys, just that's it, some substance has not been given. Then moving forward, so guys, the remembrance of the SP Balasubramaniam onto this entire page has been given. After that, guys, here we can see that the Quad has discussed the Indo-Pacific infrastructure and 5G. However, guys, nothing substantial has come out, and see, every other day such kind of things will be coming. It was just a kind of a virtual meet, so no need to go too much into the detail. After that, the showcase page, not important for our exam. Then guys, onto the world's page also, the US elections and such kind of things are coming, not really very important. However, onto the business page, we can see that IRDAI had listed the DSII. So what are they, and what is their utility, will see entire this thing. Then guys, the showcase page, the IPL news, not important. So that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now guys, taking up the first news. So this particular news pertains to the Vodafone tax controversy, where the Vodafone has won this particular battle. Now, first of all, before going into this particular news, we need to know the background behind this entire thing. Otherwise, the present news will not make any sense. Now guys, what happened? This entire controversy started in 2007. So you might be knowing that at this point of time, there was a telecom company that was Hutch, which was operational in India. So guys, in now the Vodafone acquired the business of the Hutch. 67% stake was brought by the Vodafone. Now guys, as this particular stake was brought, there was one issue came. Now see, whenever a person sells his asset and if the person is gaining something in that particular transaction, then the capital gain tax has to be given onto that particular transaction. Fine guys. Now guys, this is the capital gain tax, and one more concept. Now there is a concept of the withholding tax. So withholding tax liability concept, it means that the person who's paying the money, that person has a liability that he needed to withhold the tax amount and that tax amount is to be deposited to the government. So guys, as this particular transaction happened, government concluded that here the Hajj had gained something. Therefore, the capital gain tax has to be paid, and that capital gain tax was to be deducted by the Vodafone, and now it is the liability of the Vodafone that Vodafone should pay. So initially 7,990 crore rupees were asked. Now guys, this particular matter was appealed by the Vodafone into the Bombay High Court, where Bombay High Court ruled into the favor of the income tax department. Says they said that yes, Vodafone would should have deducted the money, and now Vodafone has to pay this money. Now guys, Vodafone further moved and challenged this particular decision into the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said that the time when this particular transaction was carried, at that particular time there was no proper provisions into the Income Tax Act, and therefore Vodafone cannot be forced to pay the money. Guys, the same year, what government did? Government raised an amendment into the Income Tax Act by the Finance Act of 2012 and said that such tax has to be paid, and guys, retrospectively the tax was levied. Now retrospective means that going by the back date. Now you need to understand that when government moved this amendment, that was the 2012 year, and guys, the transaction took place in 2007. So in 2012 government is bringing the law and said that law will be retrospectively applicable, so that from back date also it can be applicable, and therefore clear cut liability of the taxation was imposed onto the Vodafone. And guys, into the mean course of time, by the recalculations, by the interest penalties, such a figure increased to more than 20,000 crore rupees. And guys, what happened in 2014? There was no leg room for the further negotiations, and it was ruled that Vodafone has to pay such liability. Now guys, what happened? See, Vodafone basically is a company which it is a foreign MNC. Fine. Now Vodafone, when it entered into India, it entered from its subsidiary by the Netherlands. Fine. Now guys, whenever some other companies from some other country come, they are protected by the certain treaties. So guys, we have signed with the Netherlands a bilateral investment treaty, and with the under this bilateral investment treaty there is a provision that companies should be given a kind of a competitive environment. They should be given a safe kind of basically safe kind of environment into the hosting countries. And under there is one particular provision that if any dispute comes, then the company can resort to the arbitration mechanism. And here Vodafone used such a provision and approached the Permanent Court of Arbitration at Hague and said that the tax which has been charged by the Indian government, it is unfair and violates the principles of the natural justice. So guys, this particular matter was going on, and now what has happened? The Permanent Court of Arbitration situated at The Hague, it has ruled into the favor of the Vodafone. So now if you will read the news, it will make the sense. So here now the Permanent Court of Arbitration has said that Vodafone not need to pay the tax liabilities which were more than $2 billion. Is it clear? Now guys, this particular thing, if when the response of the government was asked, government has not commented till now anything. Government had said that now they are studying the verdict given by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, and after only that they will be deciding that what next steps they have to take. Now guys, what are the implications of this particular order? Implication number one is that right now there are other companies also which are which have come under the controversy of the retrospective taxation. For example, Cairn. So they have also challenged government's authority with respect to the retrospective, and if this particular decision goes through, it will set a precedence that government doesn't have power with respect to the retrospective taxation. So that thing will not be good for India right now, the situation, as the basically government's revenue streams are very much restricted. Secondly guys, it might be good thing also, as it will give a kind of a good signals to the companies who are willing willing to invest, and their kind of an ease of doing business can be improved. However, as this particular thing is being forced, government didn't deliberately bought this thing, it might be taken something as negative also. So this particular verdict is a mixed bag of positives as well as negatives, and as government clarify their own stand, we need to see that how this case will move from here. But guys, this particular thing happens to be an important matter. So guys, that's all about this particular issue, and now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article we will use into the GS paper number 3 under the topic of the infrastructure. Now, what has happened? First of all, you need not to go into the technical details, but as a case study, it will serve our purpose. See, Delhi is establishing the regional rapid transit system. Now, what is this regional rapid transit system? Guys, Delhi is a metropolitan city, and as metropolitan cities are supposed to be the engines of mega growth, therefore, large population often is dependent onto these metropolitans. Now, over and over period of time, these metros become very crowded, they become very dense into the population, urbanization becomes a very problem thing, and in mean course of time, the satellite towns emerged near the vicinity of these metropolitans. For example, what are the satellite towns for Delhi? They are the Gurugram, Faridabad, the Meerut, Bahadurgarh, all these are the satellite towns. People, they live into these satellite towns, but as every day they have to come back to the metropolitans, what happens? The traffic increases, the congestion on the road increases, as many of them are coming by their own vehicles, the pollution increases, all such kind of thing comes, and collectively it reduces the ease of living into these big cities. Obviously, if pollution will increase, you might not be have the clean air. If you need to spend substantial time into the traffic, obviously that is also not a good thing. So guys, there could be a solution that if we establish very strong transportation system between the satellite towns and the metropolitans, then much of these problems could be solved. So guys, into this particular line, the Delhi Ghaziabad Metro regional rapid transit system corridor is being established, which will reduce the travel time from now 3 to 4 hours to just under 1 hour. And this particular model needs to be established by all the metropolitans so that people can conveniently switch to that satellite towns. It will also reduce the concentration of population into the core metropolitan city. Rents will also come down. Guys, such kind of strategy was also suggested by the Niti Aayog's action plan. Fine. So guys, this is the other issue. We can use it as a case study. And now we'll move to the next article. Now guys, this particular article talks about the cesspool, and this topic will be highly utilizable into the GS paper number 2, issues of fiscal federalism, as well as GS paper number 3, finances. Now guys, before going into this particular article, there are certain issues or certain basic terminologies which I would like to clarify, as they are important here as well as for your prelims examination. That is the cess and the tax. First of all, the cess as well as the tax, both are the sources of revenue for the government. Number one, cess is that revenue which is not to be shared with the state government. Tax, however, is that revenue which is to be shared as per the defined mechanism. Secondly, cess is credited to the Consolidated Fund of India, and then from the cess will be utilized for one specific purpose. For example, if there is a Krishi Kalyan cess, that needs to be used only for the irrigation agriculture. Then if it is the Swachh Bharat cess, it needs only to be invested onto the promoting cleanliness in our country. Then similarly, if it is education cess, for education only it can be spent. So guys, cess is specific, tax is generalistic. Cess, money goes direct only to the center, tax is to be shared between the center and the state as per the mechanism. Now guys, what is the basic difference onto the cess? Cess is just, we can call it as a tax onto the tax. Fine. For example, you are earning some money. You earned 10 lakh rupees in a year. Now, onto this particular 10 lakh rupees, you need to pay 10% of income tax. So, 10,000 rupees income tax. Now, onto this 10,000 rupees tax, further a new tax will be levied. For example, 3% of the education cess. So, 300 rupees more apart from 10,000 you have to give. So, this is the cess. So, cess is tax on tax 1. However, guys, you need not to consider it here only. There could be some instances where the cess might not be only tax on tax, but independently onto the value also the cess can be levied. For example, I will give you the example of the Swachh Bharat cess. Now, Swachh Bharat cess is collected onto the 0.5% rate onto the value of the services which are being given. Fine, guys. So both possibilities can be there. Cess could be tax on tax. Cess could be independently onto the value also. So many a books only mention cess is a tax on tax. You need to be very clear on that thing. Swachh Bharat cess is an example. Now, guys, coming to basically the news item, if we see now the how much money government has collected by the cess. So according to the report by the Controller Auditor General, it has been said that government into the last year has earned nearly 2.7 lakh crore rupees into the cess amount. Now I told you that cess first of all will go to the consolidated fund and then will be withdrawn and will be utilized for the purpose for which it was raised. But if we see the report of the CAG, it has been said that substantial cesses have still not been utilized. They have not been withdrawn from the consolidated fund of India. And artificially, government had kept its fiscal deficit, revenue deficit numbers low by not spending that money. Now, guys, here certain examples have been given. For example, the cess is imposed onto the crude oil, and in last 10 years, not even a single paisa of the cess onto the crude oil has been utilized for the development of the oil industries. Then, guys, the cess onto the fuel, that is the petrol and diesel that you are buying, it is also imposed, and that fuel cess needs to go to the central road fund for the improvement into the road infrastructure. Now, guys, this particular money has also not been credited to the extent for which it was to be given. Then, guys, GST compensation cess is an example in which government had raised 47,000 crore rupees, but when it was in excess, government didn't share this fund also, this cess also completely. Then now what has happened, 4% of the health and education cess now new it has been introduced. Earlier it was only the education cess, now health and education cess has been made. Now, guys, even till now for education, even though there is a separate fund, but for health not even a separate fund has been made. Now, guys, it has been said that this is a thing which we can understand that after the 14th Finance Commission came, it recommended that the states need to be give more money. It's recommended that 42% of the entire tax amount, not the cess, tax amount is to be distributed with the or is to be shared with the state. And now center needs more money. So therefore, center is imposing new cesses as we had seen. But the question comes that when you are using new cess, levying new cess, why you are not utilizing that cess money? Is it clear? So, guys, this particular thing is now said here, and center needs to improve its ways. It needs to mend its ways with respect to the finance handling. So, guys, all this particular thing has been provided here, and with respect to GS2 as well as 3, we can utilize this particular issue. So, guys, that's all. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article mentions with to the parliamentary scrutiny, fine, and will be highly utilizable for our GS paper number 2. Now, guys, this article starts basically argument from the time of the independence. So it has been said that when we see at the time of the independence, there were two types of debate which were going on. One debate said that parliamentary democracy is not suited for India and will never be sustained in India. There are other group of people who said that rather parliamentary democracy is the only thing that India needs, because the parliamentary democracy is characterized by more representativeness, more accountability. Parliament and the state legislative assembly, they can serve as a model institutions to propagate further democracy in India. So therefore parliamentary democracy is needed. Moreover, guys, as we adopted the parliamentary democracy, in order to further improve the functioning of the parliamentary democracy, we also installed the committee system. Now, the committee system, we have the select committees, joint committees. Select committees are committees of one particular house's member. Joint committees have the members from both the houses. Now, there are different type of committees, and these committees help in the technical work. They help into the basically legislative kind of work, can help in housekeeping, as well as from time to time they also ask the accountability of the government, that whatever work they are doing, how much prudently they have committed it. So these committees were very good. Now, guys, committees, as it has been said, one more strength of committees that often the committees are not divided onto the party lines. However, now such kind of a thing might not be said, because the politics now has turned to worse. Now, guys, these committees were also the training schools, fine, for the legislators. If they will become the members into the ministers into the times to come, then they will get enough of conditioning here as into these committees. Now, guys, as the committees were going on, further new committees, that is the departmental related standing committees, were introduced in India in 1993. Initially there were 17 committees, which then increased to 24 committees. Now, guys, these committees are specific to one department. They consider the bills, they examine the grants, they provide the annual reports and all such kind of things. So we have large number of committees, and these committees are supposed to be doing the good work. But, guys, if we see into the present times, these committees have not been given the due representation which they should have been given. For example, if we talk, then, guys, there is certain data which has been given from the 14th, 15th and 16th Lok Sabha. Into the 14th Lok Sabha, 60% of all the bills were referred to the committees. 15th Lok Sabha, 71% of the bills were referred to the committees, but into the 16th Lok Sabha, only 27% bill have referred to the committees. And seeing their technical expertise, seeing their much critical kind of approach, now government is giving less of the less bills, and these bills therefore might be plagued with the problems. Further, guys, it has been said that if we particularly talk about the joint committee, which have member from both the houses, last bill which was given to it was in 2015, that is right to fair compensation and transparency into the land acquisition and rehabilitation, second amendment bill 2015. After that, no bill has been referred to the joint committees for last 5 years. And now, when we talk about the present circumstance, you remember last year article 370, the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir was made. That bill also was not referred to the any committee, and now the farmers who are protesting for 3 bills, they have also not been referred to the committees. So, guys, it has been said that now a kind of an anger against the government is brewing, that the government is not consulting, and such kind of thing is going directly against the spirit of the parliamentary democracy, which we thought will come in India into the 1947. So, guys, government, it has been said, needs to preserve the democratic values, needs to uphold the democratic values, because the parliamentary democracy is nothing without endorsing such kind of values and attitudes. So, guys, this is all here, and we can use it with respect to the evaluation of the functioning of the parliament in GS paper number 2, which has clearly been provided into our syllabus. So, guys, that's all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, friends, here we can see a news where it has been said that the MCI had replaced the National Medical Commission. MCI replaced by the NMC. Fine. Now, what is this particular issue? I will first of all tell you the background. Now, guys, in India, we have the Indian Medical Council Act of 1956. This particular act has made the Medical Council of India. Now, this Medical Council of India has various type of functions. For example, it sets the standard for the medical professionals. It establishes the norms for the new medical colleges. It basically revises the curriculum for the budding doctors, health professionals, etc. So you can see that MCI had a large number of regulatory supervisory power into the medical domain. However, guys, over the period of time, repeatedly charges of basically corruption has been levied onto the MCI. And therefore, just what happened into the due course of time, the Supreme Court said that the MCI should be abolished and some new mechanism should be brought for the MCI. And therefore, guys, the Niti Aayog recommended that a new National Medical Commission will be established which will take over the MCI's functions. Is it clear? Now, guys, what happened? Finally, the National Medical Commission, which was being recommended by the Niti Aayog, has came and it has replaced the MCI. Is it clear? So this particular thing has happened. Now, when we talk about the NMC contains the 33 members, one chairperson, 10 ex officio members, and 22 part-time members. So as members are so many, you are not needed to remember all these members composition. Now, guys, as we talk about the NMC had came to remove the over centralization which was carried by the MCI. Now we see that MCI had all the functions under one body, but under NMC there are 4 autonomous boards which have been made, and these autonomous boards are concerned with the different element into the medical education. For example, there is the undergraduate medical education board which will set standards for the undergraduate education. Then similarly, there is the postgraduate medical education board for the PG education of doctors. Then there is the medical assessment and rating board, and then there are the ethics and medical registration board. So over centralization of power will not be there by coming of the NMC, and as the corruption such charges were there, such things might also be solved by this particular thing. So guys, this thing has happened here. And with respect to the GS paper number 2, regulatory mechanism of education, such thing could be very, very important. Fine, guys. So that's all. Now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article pertains to the regularization of the insurance in India. Fine. Now, guys, right now, if we talk about the insurance sector has being liberalized very much. Earlier, the basically insurance sector was the monopoly of the government, but after the establishment of Malhotra Committee in 1993, education sector has been liberalized, and now into the life segment as well as general segment, much insurance companies have been there. But guys, within these insurance companies also, some insurance companies are there which are even more important. Why? Because they are very big, they are catering to so many people. Is it clear? So guys, into this particular background comes the status of the domestic systemically important insurers. So domestic systemically important insurers are those insurance companies which are too big to fail. It means we can't afford them to fail. And guys, therefore, every year the IRDAI, that is the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, identifies certain insurance companies which are the DSIIs, and it has now identified LIC, GIC, and New India Assurance as the DSII. Now, guys, what this particular status means? It means now they have to follow more stringent regulatory norms. There will be increased oversight by the regulators. Fine, they need to abide to the corporate governance norms and all such kind of things. Fine, guys. Now, what are the parameters for declaring any company as the DSII? First of all, the size of total revenue if it is too big, then the premiums underwritten, and the value of the assets. So if it is too big, the company can be given the status of the DSII. So guys, this is all about this particular thing. When we talk about IRDAI, it is a regulator of insurance in India, established by the IRDAI Act 1991, and the headquarters are in Hyderabad. Keep in mind, not in Delhi. So guys, this is all about this particular thing, can be utilizable for the prelims as well as GS paper number 3. So guys, that's all about the issues, and now we'll go to the question section. Now friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. Question number 1 is with respect to the SICA. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 2 is with respect to the Kritigya. So please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 3 is with respect to the RACE 2020. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 4 is with respect to the Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramin Kaushal Yojana. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. So guys, that's all about the questions. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.